Hello, my name's Christy, and we're going to go over Open Game Panel, our OP host panel. We're going to go a bit more in depth with 7 days configuration. So let's go here, go here, go here, and voila. So we're also going to need our links because we're going to look at mods. All right, where are we at? That looks like mods to me. Game mods. All right. This is a list of various mods that will work with 7 days, and it's maintained in the forums of 7days.com. Let's go back here and File Manager. Sorry, I like going this way. It's a personal preference. You can actually go back here and click on Edit Configuration Files. And this one is your basic file for just configuring the server. This one, Server Admin, is where you can manually add any kind of admins you want to your server. So let's click on Edit for the server config. Now most of these are self-explanatory. The server port you don't bother with on here because the panel itself will override that for whatever port's set for it. This tells whether or not you want the server to be actually on the master list, which is on Steam where you select where you want, to go on your server and people to be able to find it. This is just a basic name of the server and your password if you want one. You can ignore that one. The server reserve slots and admin slots, they're kind of weird. Like, if you have 10 slots like the server does, uh, whenever you reserve a slot, that slot's going to be taken up like forever. It'll reserve it just for whoever's on the list to be able to access that with a permission level. Um, and this sets what permission level they need to have in order to go onto it, to be able to log onto the server. You can do that for if you want, I don't know, people who donate to the server to be able to get a reserve slot on the server if you have a lot of players. And same thing here is admin, you can always reserve one slot, but you'll only have like, if you reserve 5 slots, you only have 5 slots left if it's a 10 slot server. And this, defines what level of admin, because there's different levels of admin can do different things. Server description is a description of the server when you go to join it, and the URL if you have one. This disables UNet by default, which is kind of a troublesome protocol, it seems like, for 7 days. It can cause graphics glitches and etc. That should always be disabled with this property. But there are other networking things if we want to keep all the others. They seem to work okay. The game name, which will be overridden by the first thing you go in when you go to join the game, which is right here, random again, and blah blah blah. So you don't really have to worry about that. And this part, the game name, decides what the seed will be. And each seed has their own different characteristics in the game, like water or whether it's desert or regular land or whatever. And it's all generated based off the characters and numbers you put in there. This one is set up under custom fields, and the game name is random Vampy. That's just somebody randomly put that in there. And it'll always be overridden by the settings here in the panel versus in the file. The game difficulty tells you how strong you want the monster to be. Easy's, 0, and it goes up to 5. This sets what kind of game you want to have and whether you want to have permissions, like, or protection, sorry, for your land if you want to put down land claim blocks, etc. And that's default is to have this on there, which is land claim blocks. And tells you whether you want the zombies to run, which will be feral or not, basically. Want to always run, never run, or walk in, what do you call it? If you want it to be a build server where they can access all the cheats and the blocks and stuff by pressing U, you can set it to true. And it's just creative server. This is where you set how long you want the game days to be and how many days or hours in the day you want the sun to shine. It's right there. Player killing, you can set, like it says, 0 equals no, or 3. This is kill everyone, so this is a PvP server. Persistent player files. You can use this uh, so that no matter what happens, basically it tries to save their profile on the server. And if I remember correctly, it can prevent people from using alternate sub accounts, this family shared stuff, to create another character in the game or whatever. Um, I haven't tested it, but that's just what it's there for. Uh, Player safe zone level. This pretty much tells what it is. If a player less or equal to this level, it'll create a safe zone, no enemies around wherever they spawn in the game. Safe hours, how many hours in the world this safe zone exists. Control panel password, this is defined in the other one, and the port. These should be, if enabled to true, these are not enabled to true right now. If they're enabled to true, should be assigned by the OP host and shouldn't be changed. Uh, the panel password can be whatever password you want it to be. You can change it whenever. It's just the panel where you go to log in and it gives you a web page. Um, that's kind of like Telnet. And Telnet is where the bots will connect to if they have a bot on your server, like Botman, which is awesome. Uh, and the password which you can define for it and what port it is. And this port will probably also be defined by the admin and probably shouldn't be changed, but you can always let us know if you need to. Um, this defines where your admins are going to be defined at in this file right here. And, unless you know what you're doing, you probably don't want to change that. Drop on death backpack. All right, these things are a little weird. Um, one is 2 build only, two is backpack only, and three is delete all. However, what they don't tell you is there is a fourth setting, which is it doesn't drop anything. Um, Drop on quit, which is one, everything, zero, nothing, etc. But there's no fourth on this one, not that I know about. But this one does have a fourth that they really don't tell you about. Enemy count on Blood Moon. This is typically set at 8. If you want to have more, which means each person that's in the game gets 8 zombies, give or take based off of whatever their level is and difficulty level. What you have to keep in mind is if you have 10 people at 8 players, I mean 8 zombies per player, it's 80 zombies right there. If you have 10 players and 16 zombies, it's 160 zombies. So if your server and the players can't, handle having more than a certain amount of zombies, and it's recommended about 80, I think, for the server settings, then you're going to be going over your server settings, which can cause lag or problems. So you have to keep in mind, keep that at the same level where your zombies is, or below. Enemy spawn mode. This is whether or not enemies will appear in the game, and this is whether they're feral or not. Block modifier. Um, I don't really remember. Oh, it's durability. That's how much durability they have. Basic normal is 100, and you can increase the durability percentage or lower it. Abundance. This starts out as 100, I believe, and any percentage above that is just going to be duplicating it. Like 300 here is 3 times the normal loot. And how many days or how many in-game days it'll take for new loot to appear once you've already looted it. Land claim size 20. That's 20 blocks out. For each block you put out, it'll claim that area. Land claim dead zones. Uh, how many far blocks apart, between you and your friends are building and claim blocks, etc. And how long it'll take them to expire, the number of days before, people can go in and destroy your stuff or, whatever, if it's in the way. And the decay mode is just telling you, how fast it's going to decay or what kind of decay it's going to have or none at all. Full protection would be none at all, by the way. Uh, and it'll slowly expire and blocks become more and more capable of being damaged. This tells you how much damage people can do to them if you're online or offline. Default is 32x. This is 4. I've only seen 4 on here. Whenever we first start a server. So you'd have to define that as 32 if you want your blocks to be standard. This is going to be making them a little bit more vulnerable. Airdrop frequency, it's little airdrops in the game, how often it'll come in. This is like every 24 hours, so once a day you'll see a drop, and whether or not there's a marker on your map, or the little overhead compass. This is how many zombies are in game. This is overrode again by the panel, which is down here, max spawn zombies, 120. Every time you start the server, it'll reset that number even if you edit it here. Um, Max spawn animals. This one, I haven't seen it really affect the server because it has a random chance of this happening anyways. So you could pretty much put that at anything you want to. I haven't seen anybody put it like, I don't know if I put it above 1,000 or anything, but um, EAC, you want this true for the most part. If you're gonna go and put a mod on there that has a bigger backpack, and not all mods will do this, then you want to set this to false and make sure all your players that are joining have it on false. Because if you have it on true and you have a backpack mod and EAC detects you using that, and the change in the dill file that's required to do that, it can get you a back ban on Steam. And this is to tell how much information can be viewed via in the console. You know, everything, hide from telnet control panel, also hide from game control clients, so you don't want the clients to see certain stuff. This is tells you how big the map is. I would recommend just pretty much leaving it as it is because the further and bigger the map is, the more glitches you're going to encounter. Basically the maps are really tightly bound like this, but the further you go apart, they come apart, and you can see tears and seams in the world, and it gets glitchy, and then starting shutter effects. It's really a Unity bug. The bedroll size is the size of Dead Zone. How many, no zombies are going to spawn around it for 20 blocks whenever you come back is the idea. It'll clear any sleeper volumes if you put it down in a building or whatever. And this, of course, is your game files. And that's how you set up your configuration. All right. I don't know how long this video is, but we'll go ahead and turn it off. And then next video, we're going to go ahead and go into modding the 7 days server. Thanks.